It is a policy that is often ignored, and especially in the minority community. Okay. And I have a passion about life insurance because that's when I first got in the insurance industry. I started off doing life insurance sales and worksite marketing. And so I've done death claims where whether it's a policy what I wrote on someone or somebody else wrote and I had to be the person to do a death claim where I have that person in front of me. I had to deliver checks. And when I seen the what it can do to help out a family, that really touched my heart, and I began to gain a passion about it. And during my time when I used to sell, okay, before I start working in the corporate world, I sold a lot of those policies because I thought it was highly important, and it's something that's often ignored. Okay, even if you whether you're poor, you're middle income, or you're well off, there are great benefits of having life insurance.
About the love, let's talk about communication. Let's talk about the love, let's talk about communication. Oh yeah, talk about the love, let's talk about communication. Let's talk about the love, let's talk about communication. Oh yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is your host, William Robinson, coming at you live tonight from the studios of TLC, Talk, Love, and Communication. Today we have a special episode of My Story with Mr. Floyd Magwood Jr. He's a preacher's kid. He's into insurance. He's a business owner. He's going to tell us how we can be successful, we can grow in the community. Ladies and gentlemen, he's going to give us his wisdom, knowledge, understanding, and input. And ladies and gentlemen, with that being said, we want to give my guest a special round of applause, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello, hello.
Okay, so how's it going, Mr. Magwood?
It's going good. Going good.
How was your ride over, man? Everything was good?
It was good. We can tell that Ocala is growing with all the traffic.
Yeah, it's definitely growing.
That's building up. So
it's definitely growing. So tell my audience a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, moved to Ocala, I would say when I was probably like 8 or 9 years old. Preacher's kid. Matter of fact, that's the reason why I moved to Ocala is because my dad pastored a church called Church of God by Faith, right off Fort King. Been there for many years. So yeah, I grew up as a preacher kid. Don't judge me too hard. Wasn't too bad, but I have 3 kids. Have a daughter. Got a grandbaby now. That's a few months. Okay. And also have my oldest son goes to UF for engineering, and then my youngest son is now going to Redeemer High School.
And where exactly did you move from? You know, you said you moved to Ocala. So where did you move from?
Born Lake Wells, Polk County. The city. My parents had a house in Avon Park, so more so in Highlands County.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
So what was the major difference when you moved from Polk County to Ocala? Did you notice a difference at a young age?
I thought Ocala was a little bit more city-like, but from until I started getting on the outside of Ocala, more in the Marion County,
right.
Then I started to see a little bit more similarities.
Okay, and you talked about you got a daughter, you got a son, you got a grandchild.
Yes. I
mean, what's the difference? I mean, I think as a grandfather, it's just a different type of love for the grandchild.
Oh, I love it. It's just to hold that baby in my arms and now starting to see that personality build up. It's amazing. I got a chance to, make all kind of weird noises at the baby, get her to laugh, really hard. It just brings so much joy to me.
What's the main difference in raising a daughter and raising a son?
I would say raising a daughter, you deal with more emotions, right? Um, I think I think they could be a little bit sneakier. Raising boys, they're just rough and kind of more hard headed, and you kind of have to be a little tougher on the boys. The girls, you kind of just look at them. Wrong boys, you kind of maybe threaten to jack them up every now and then, or kind of get them in line. But yeah, there is a difference.
You know, me having daughters, that taught me a lot about women.
Yeah.
I understand women more because I got daughters, and they learn at an early age, man, dad is sweet, man. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Dad is sweet. Daddy gonna give me them cookies every time mama ain't looking. Daddy gonna buy me anything I want. And they, at a young age, they are actually literally like reel you in. You know
Oh,
what
yeah.
I'm saying? I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
understand what they're doing at a young age,
Yeah.
That's so true, So, what are some of your proudest moments in life?
Um, I would say, um, marrying my wife for over 20 years. Um, I thank God for putting her, in my life. To me, I learned how to dream a little bit more, and always been a hard worker. That's the way my dad raised me, right? But learned to take a little bit more risk and dream a little bit more, because of my wife, and I just learned many things from her. Also with my job and my career, some of the accomplishments, some of the even in my current job, some of the awards I've won, like 2 Spirit of Eagle awards, which means ranked number 1 for my position in the company. That should have been 3 years. That was close getting 3 years in a row, but we'll get there. But I'm happy about that. I thank God for the opportunity, because I never saw myself in that type of situation, because I always been, growing up, I was considered kind of shy, um and I just never imagined, because I'm not that, I'm still a little bit more of a country boy, and not that smooth, and just to see some of the accomplishments and things I've been able to do, and places God allowed me to be at, is just feel blessed.
And what kind of career do you have, sir?
I work in the insurance industry. So I started off doing insurance sales. I started off doing life insurance sales. That was actually like my second job. Chick-fil-A was my first job. That's where I met my wife.
Okay.
But yeah, started off doing life insurance sales, became a branch manager, trained and developed people. Then a recruiter approached me, a State Farm agent approached me, and I ended up selling policies and help managing a sales team over in the city called Leesburg, not that far from the villages, and was able to accomplish great things there. And I wanted to open up my own agency, but that didn't happen, right away. Just wasn't ready yet. Then I got a call from the insurance company I work for now to work in a corporate field, and several positions later, I'm what you consider a field sales leader or manager, but I really oversee the new agents for this large insurance company I work for. I just won't say the name right now, just in case. But this company's pretty large. You see their commercials on TV everywhere. But I work with their new agents, the ones that may purchase an agency or start one from scratch. I oversee them, make sure they're compliant. We go over processes to help them increase their revenue, to grow their book of business, their customer clientele, processes concerning any of the HR type issues, recruiting, sales processes. So I wear many hats in that area.
So, what's the number one thing that you wish that most people understood about insurance?
That is a great question. I think one thing that people really need to understand about insurance is it is about the details of the policy. Okay, you either self-insure or you allow or you partly self-insure, and where the insurance company handle the rest of the risk. But I think people do need to understand more of how the risk works, understand more details of the policies. Oftentimes, when people purchase a policy, they don't understand the details of the policy. They're just looking at just the price, right? And then when they get a claim, some of them are shocked or surprised. And so it's very important to ask questions. Whoever's selling you your policy, if they're just talking to you about, here's the policy, here's the premium, and they're not telling you what's covered and what's not covered, you need to ask more questions. And if they're not willing to answer those questions, don't sign that contract. Yeah, this is America, a free country. You can search. You don't have to stay at the same agency, but you have to ask questions. And I think, being a customer myself, as well as working in the industry, oftentimes the failure happens because I don't believe, I do believe some agents need to do a better job explaining, but ultimately you signing a contract, you need to ask questions. And one of the questions, what's covered and what's not covered.
That was going to be my next question to you. And what kind of questions need to be asked? When a person go into this, maybe a young kid fresh out of high school, they getting their first policy, they on their own. What kind of things should they look for as far as the pros and the cons?
Well, what they should look for is, first they need to evaluate their assets, right? If you own a home, okay, here in the state of Florida, they can't take away your home, but they can put a lien against it, right? If you make decent income, okay income, they can go after your income, right? Or so a portion of your income if they win a lawsuit if you're at fault, right? I'm talking car insurance, for example. So you need to evaluate your assets, what you have, and you need to make sure your coverages matches that. Okay. You need to make sure you have the proper coverages. Some people drive off and say, I just want the cheapest, no BI limits, and they don't understand the consequences of, that can cause, where if you are at fault in an accident, you don't have BI limits, for example. You have to get special insurance. That's way more expensive, right?
Now explain to my audience, what is BI insurance?
Bodily injury. Sorry, I'm talking the insurance.
Okay,
lingo. Bodily injury,
insurance.
for example.
So
right.
PIP just covers what?
Personal injury protection. That's mainly focused on your medical, right? It cover a portion of your medical, and some people also have what they call I'm trying to keep it real simple here, but some of them have a supplement medical payment that can add into that. Some people don't know that's one of the first things that when you go into the hospital that they look at. They take that card before they even look at your health insurance. So I just think it's good to, as a young person or as an older person, to make sure that you ask questions. Like, if you don't know, like what you just did, okay, what is PIP, right? What is medical payment? As far as your homeowner's insurance, if I have a sinkhole, is that covered? Okay. What is ground collapse versus a sinkhole coverage? So I think it's very important that before they purchase a policy, that they ask questions and don't rush into it.
It's okay. Let's we're gonna stick with the car insurance first. Okay. Let's say most people, like you say, they get insurance by what type of car. Like if I got a old school car, ain't much value to it. I
Right.
say, well, I'm just going to get PIP because, the car ain't worth that much, but it's more than paying off your vehicle. It's about the medical expenses. What if you at fault? You have to cover the other person's injury, hospital bills, and so forth.
Correct.
So tell us the main difference in coverage wise with PIP and what you get with full coverage, or is it something in the middle? Is either one or the other?
Well, PIP is something that you require to have here in the state of Florida. I know they tried to take it away at one time, and the medical community and all them fought against it when it was about to sunset. So that's something that you have, right? But what's very important is to make sure you have the proper amount of bodily injury limits that's paying out to the other person, because you also got to protect your savings, your property, and your income, right? So that's important to make sure you have that as well, and to also make sure you understand the Florida laws that if you don't have that and you get involved in an accident, you have to get a special type insurance where you have to get like 100, 300, for example, 100,000 bodily injury limits, 300,000, per situation, per occasion.
So is it best? Is it if you can afford it? It's always, the best to get full coverage. I noticed that if you are making payments on a vehicle, it's required in the state of Florida that you have full coverage. Correct?
Well, yeah. Now, when people typically say full coverage, they're typically talking about adding comprehensive and collision, right? Comprehensive, vandalism, theft, natural disaster, which that include like my mother-in-law when she totaled her car hitting a pregnant cow on her home, heading to her home in Morrison. Cow got loose. That was under comprehensive. Then you got collision, hit another vehicle, run into a building.
Do your insurance go up? Let's say that a tree fall on my car. I got full coverage. Okay, they repair it. Does that make my insurance go up?
Every insurance company is slightly different, but typically that doesn't comprehensive typically doesn't necessarily make your insurance go up unless you have a bunch of those in a short period of time.
Okay.
For example, this came up with a friend of mine. He posted something on Facebook because and I had a conversation with him afterwards. He did not know. Here's another cover, so you got to be careful with. He got towing, so he had so many insurance companies dropped him, right? He had so many different claims, comprehensives, a bunch of towing within a year.
Mm-hmm.
So insurance companies do look at frequency, but typically what makes your rate go up the highest is if you have, from what I've seen, if you have too many at-fault accidents, if you just have too many claims, period. But special at-fault accidents, speeding tickets, all of those things.
Okay, so let's move on to homeowners insurance. So, what exactly does homeowner insurance cover? Like theft, flooding, and what exactly does it?
Well, that's another thing that I think sometimes people get confused about with homeowners insurance. When they get an insurance policy, they're gonna say, "Hey, this homeowner's policy is gonna cover flood. It's gonna cover." They just start naming anything, but what they have to look at is it does not cover maintenance. Okay, they may cover some damage that, let's say your pipes burst, okay, and start, damaging up different things. They may cover that, but then they may say that was your fault by you not staying on top of your maintenance, right?
So I guess that's why it's important to choose the right insurance company, correct?
Correct. You need to look at the details. So, for example, flood insurance, okay? Flood insurance is actually different, okay? That's actually a separate policy, right? I have a a few rental properties that I do on the side, and I just bought one in recently in Steenhatchee, Florida. It was in a risky flood area. Technically, every area in Florida is a flood area, but it's more of a risky flood area. And so I had to buy a separate, although that house is built up on stilts, I still had to buy a separate flood policy, okay? Because that water is flowing in that can run into a house, for example. Is a separate policy, okay? Versus the wind taking off your roof and water coming into your home. That's different. That's not flood.
So is there, like when it comes to car insurance, you got the basic PIP, and then you got the comprehensive and everything, which is full coverage. Is that the same thing with homeowners insurance? If there's the basic, is there like a top coverage? Or
Well, homeowner insurance I think is probably one of the most complicated policies out there. My opinion. Car insurance, to me, life insurance, those things are real simple, right? But homeowner insurance, even car insurance, but homeowner insurance is more complicated. So you have different types of policies, and then within that, you can see how much does it cover for jewelry. That's another one. So jewelry could be, they may have a max of the jewelry you have in your house is only $2,500. Okay. And I notice although I don't sell insurance anymore, I just oversee agents that do. I still have friends and family that come to me with their policies, want me to review it. And that's one of the first things I look at. I look at the coverages, what's limited, what's covered, and what's not covered. And so if you have more expensive, I never got into jewelry, but a lot of people they have some expensive jewelry. They have expensive wedding rings. Well, their homeowner's policy is only going to cover that to a certain amount. So therefore, you probably have to get a separate policy that covers jewelry or covers some of your collections.
I recall when I was a jitterbug in my 20s, and you got the trues and bows and the hammers and all of that. So I got the 83 Cadillac, with the hammers on it and the Royal Seals, and
Oh yeah.
And I remember, I think I pulled up with it out the door maybe, and the insurance agent was like, you got some nice rims on there. You wanna put that on your coverage. If somebody steals them, we'll replace them. Kind of, basically boosting up the coverage. So I noticed that I did have to pay. I don't know, was it a separate? I think it was an add-on or something.
Right.
But I could pay a little more and get those rims specifically covered. Through my policy. Is that the same thing like with the house? Like you got extra jewelry or you got very expensive paintings or whatever?
Exactly. Because one of the first things you need to do is look at what's the limited coverages, what's covered, and what's not covered. And even after you write the policy, you want to look at that policy. And there's something you don't understand on it when you get to the declaration page, we call it. When you start looking at that, call that agent or whoever wrote that policy, call them up and ask questions. And it's not too late, to make changes, right? In most situations, you can make changes. Go make changes, have them make adjustments. It's better to have the proper coverages than not have, not be covered.
Right.
And be disappointed.
Understanding is the key to anything.
It is to anything, yeah.
Communicate. If you're selling me something, I got 1,000 questions. You know what I mean? I walk in the doctor's office. I want to know what's going on. Don't just do it to me. I want to know why.
Right.
Why? What's the risk? What's the percentages? I want to know everything. When it comes to me, we need to be the same way pertaining to our insurance. And with that being said, you know a little about life insurance also?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay. How important is it to have life insurance?
It is a policy that is often ignored, and especially in the minority community. Okay. And I have a passion about life insurance because that's when I first got in the insurance industry. I started off doing life insurance sales and worksite marketing. Mm-hmm. And so I've done death claims where whether it's a policy what I wrote on someone or somebody else wrote and I had to be the person to do a death claim where I have that person in front of me. I had to deliver checks. And when I seen, the what it can do to help out a family, that really touched my heart, and I began to gain a passion about it. And during my time when I used to sell, okay, before I start working in the corporate world, I sold a lot of those policies because I thought it was highly important, and it's something that's often ignored. Okay, even if you whether you're poor, you're middle income, or you're well off, there are great benefits of having life insurance.
And it's so many times, in the, in our community, in the Afro American community, a lot of times there's some violence and we die young. Some of us die young, man, and the strain that it places on the family.
Yeah,
The wrong thinking of thinking I got a life to live. I don't need life insurance until I get old. That's something that we have to get out of our mind, out of our thinking. You want to speak to that, sir?
yeah. You said something that I used to remind some of the young people about when I would talk to them about life insurance, and also talk to them about disability too as well. I kind of will sell both of those policies together. Later on, I started doing that. The problem with waiting until you get older is that you could end up having some health issues where you may no longer qualify for regular life insurance, or if there is one available for you, depending on your health situation, it may be one that's more modified, in which you have to wait 2-3 years before they pay out the full death benefit, and they won't offer you enough. Okay. Now remember, life insurance for majority of people, unless you got Donald Trump money, it pays out tax free in most cases.
You just said something that about the money when it goes out. Can you write up your plan to where you have control over, in my life insurance, this goes to my daughter when she turned 18. The rest of it, she gets such an 18, this amount at
Right.
30, 21, and she has to go to college to receive this. So you have control over this money if you write it up correctly, right?
Yeah. Yeah. This is something for those that do have life insurance. I'm glad you brought a beneficiary. You need to review your beneficiary at least once a year. Again, contact your agent. They usually send something in the mail to you about your policy, but most people just throw it away. Anything that comes from the insurance company, they don't look at it because things change in life. For example, you need to have more than just a primary beneficiary. Okay. For example, you and your wife got life insurance and you're each other's beneficiary, right? But what if both of you pass away? And I know it sounds kind of depressing talking about this, but we got to talk about it, right? Both of you pass away in a car accident. Okay. Now the money is going to where? If you don't have a secondary or what we call contingent beneficiary, it goes to a state, and then you got more issues. All these other family members, second, third cousin, different people fighting over stuff. Now everybody got to sign, and then if you got minors, then that create more issues. So the first thing I would do is encourage people is make sure you have a will, make sure you have a trust. But getting back, that's in addition. But getting back to the life insurance, yeah, there are certain things you could do to control it. You can say, hey, I want my wife to be primary. Then secondary, I want my kids. And you put all your kids on there. You can split up in percentages, or you can do equal split, what most people do. Now, what if the kids are minors? Here's something that a lot of insurance agents don't talk about. You have what they call a UTMA that you can add, like a free Florida trust, that you can add on that policy. Okay. All right. And you could put on there when you want that to end. Okay. But in the meantime, you can set up a custodian. So that's something your agent may have to do a little something or fill out an extra form to do something, set something up like that. And that's something I used to do. Especially divorced couples, and you have a custodian that you trust, and they're given instructions. They have to set up a separate account. So there's rules and instructions they have to go by when you set that up.
What exactly is a UTMA?
I believe it's called Uniform Trust Minor Act. It's been a little while since I since I wrote that, but yeah, if my memory serves me correctly.
And so basically, if the child is a minor, their guardian or the next person would get it and manage it. You can kind of
You would put who you want as the custodian on that.
right. So basically, the check go to the kid, but that person would have it, whoever
Maybe.
their guardian is. And
Yeah.
you can also have him. Okay, let's talk about the trust funds and borrowing against your insurance company,
Now-
insurance claim, and all of that.
Now, I will say that make sure if you have an attorney, like I say, they might have better things that they can draw up for you. So those are the best people. But if you can't afford one, and you just can't set up right away, that is a great option to have set up in that life policy. But go ahead. What was the next question about borrowing from a life insurance?
I hear a lot about how the rich stay rich, how the wealthy stay wealthy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They take out insurance policies, big insurance policy. I think after you pay in so much, can't you borrow against it or something? How does that work?
You typically have 3 different types of life insurance policies. You have your term. Okay, some people, like you see here, Prime America, and some of these other people say buy term, and invest the rest, right? And so you have that. That's kind of like your rent. Okay, and that depends on with your term, whether it's 10-year, 20-year term. That just means this is how long the premium is going to stay the same, right? And so that is probably your most popular one that you see out there. And then you also have what we call whole life. Okay. Some people like Ramsey and Prime America say, "Oh, don't do that." I disagree. I don't think one size fits all. Me personally, I think it's good to have a combination of both. Okay. As far as the whole life, you got some that build up just cash value. But the problem with borrowing against a regular whole life policy is that what you borrow against it, you have to, pay it back. If you pass away, that's going to be subtracted from the death benefit. Okay, if you're not paying into it, you just got to be careful. Now, you do have some whole life policies that have that's from a mutual company, which is different than a stock company. They have dividends as well as the cash value. Those are one of probably your better whole life policies that's out there.
But
Now-
you have to have a policy that's of a large amount for this to take place. So how exactly does it
No,
work?
you can get a smaller policy, but the one that's probably the most popular right now, that seemed to be the hottest one out of the more permanent type policies, like a whole life, is a universal life. So you have some that's even more aggressive universal life. You got, without even like an index that makes it a little bit more aggressive. Universal life policies are even more flexible. You can, where some of the money is going towards paying for your death benefit, as well as building up, going into your cash value account, right? So I'm trying to keep it real simple. But it makes sense to customers when they look at their proposals, when they get it from the agent. Those are the ones that can grow at a much more aggressive level. And some of these policies, even with a whole life policy, you can have a lump sum of money and put it in there. And there are also some tax benefits. I'm not an accountant, talk to your accountant, but there are some tax benefits in doing it that way too.
So when we talk about borrowing against the money, so it's your own money that you put into it, correct? How does that work?
It's your equity.
So basically, when you make your monthly payment or whatever, you're basically buying into explain it to me, break it down to me.
Yeah. So let's say if you have let's use universal life policy, for example. So let's say you got to make sure that policy is funded correctly. Again, some people go for the cheapest thing. You just got to watch some of these agents. But let's say you got a universal life policy and you purchase $100,000 policy. Okay. let's use 500,000, a $500,000 policy. Okay. And it's funded correctly. So you can look at, see how much money you want to put at, they can run numbers for you. They can run the proposals, and you'll see that it's going to cause that $500,000 of death benefit to increase. So let's say, I'm just throwing out a number. Let's say in 15 years, it increased to 25,000 higher, right? So now in 15 years, 525,000. Okay.
Right.
I'm just throwing out some numbers. Okay. I need the money and funds for something, or maybe my kid is in college. You can do it in a few different ways. You can borrow against that, okay, and pay, make the payments, have that set up with the agent. Depends on the company how they have set up. You can do what they call a withdrawal, okay, which you don't have to worry about paying it back. You just say, my main goal was to have $500,000 worth of coverage. Now I got $525,000. I want to take that $15,000 off of that and don't worry about paying back on it at all. Okay.
And you have the right to do that.
That's your policy. I mean, every company is different, but that's why you got to ask questions. Can I do this? Can I do that? Make sure you get an agent. Sometimes people make a mistake by going for the cheapest all the time. I look at price, but you got to look at quality of what you're looking for. Does the policy do what you wanted to do? Then I look at price. Then I compare it with that, if that makes sense.
And what should the average person be looking for when it comes to quality?
You need to look at the insurance company. Make sure, it's one that's a quality insurance company that got a great rating. Okay. Financial rating, AM Best or whatever different ratings that are out there. And there are plenty of real good companies out there. You need to make sure you trust the agent. Okay. If the agent is just a smooth talking person, they're just going to say, here's a $20 policy and that's it. And they don't do a good job explaining things to you and don't want to answer your questions, or they don't seem to know too much about the policy, then you probably want to wait before you purchase that policy, or maybe go to someone else that knows their stuff. And there are plenty of great agents around.
Take a brand new person, or you take a mother that's her son may be a little wild. He's out here, in these streets, whatever, and and no one wants to think of it, but hey, man, he keep getting away. You know what I'm saying? But the mom's like, hey, I don't have a lot of money. I got $50 a month to spare. I want to put some life insurance on my son. You call the agents. You don't know Adam from Eve. What I mean? It's your first time doing this. And so you call an agent. What are the things you should be looking for, listening for, and what type of question? What kind of insurance could you even get with that? $35, $40, $50 a month, and you know what I mean. And I mean, out of these three insurance that you mentioned, which one of them is better for that?
There are different. Some of the insurance agents out there that may be watching, or some of the experts may agree or may disagree with me, but you have different philosophies on that. That's why I always say one size doesn't fit all. For example, if you got a young kid and you got insurance on them, let's say a baby, right? And you get it by a permanent policy, like a whole life policy. It's better to have something than nothing. And all of it is cheap for them, right? Because typically they don't offer too many term policies for like a young, baby, or unless it's a rider onto a parent's policy. And that's another thing they can do. They can add a rider onto that mom or dad's term policy, which is going to be cheaper. Okay. So that's one option.
Okay, before you finish, you just
and it locks in their health.
You just said whole life. Okay, and then you said term policy. So whole life means their whole life?
Whole life is it's a permanent policy. That's the one that can build up cash value. That's the one where the premium stays the same. It's fixed. It's more fixed. Okay. So if you lock it in at a young age, it can premium can stay that way.
So you trying to tell me, well, that'll be very wise if you. I mean, insurance for a baby shouldn't be much at all.
Well, here's the thing, because it's when I used to sell it, I would have a pen and paper. I'm asking questions. I'm asking about their family situation. So if a mom and dad come to me and they say they want life insurance on their kids and they don't have enough on themselves, then we're going to focus on mom and dad first, right? If they have a limited budget, we're going to focus on mom and dad, make sure they have enough life insurance, enough to cover loss of income, enough to pay off the mortgage, enough to handle the final expense, the death barrier, right? So that won't be a burden on the family and the kids, right? To make sure, or if they want something to go towards the kids' college fund later on. There's different things they can look at. I want to first make sure mom and dad is okay. They got the proper coverages. And if they can't afford that much, and especially if mom and dad is relatively young and pretty decent health, we're going to go term, probably 20, maybe 30, depends on the premium. These insurance companies, the rates have gone down over the years with the term insurance. And so we'll go term, and then we'll do a children term rider.
Okay, before you get into the children term rider, term meaning that for this specific period of time. So basically, you're going to have a fixed rate for the next 20 years.
Right.
That's what that means.
Right. Is it renewable? Also, is it convertible? If I decide later on in life that I want to convert part or all of this term policy over to permanent without going through underwriting again, that's a benefit. So if you get a term policy, look at renewable and look at convertible, meaning after 20 years, it's going to go up in price, but it's going to automatically renew. So you still have it as long as you pay that premium.
Right. Now explain to the rider part, so the children can piggyback off of that. Explain that
off the parents, yeah. So in that situation, what you told me, somebody that can't afford much, 30, 50 bucks, that's where I would go at, right? And so when I used to sell, that's what I would do. So now we'll find out if it's $5 or $10 extra that'll cover, let's say, $20,000 or $25,000 per kid. Okay, I'm locking the kid in, and a lot of those policies will cover your baby. Okay, here's the thing: all this memories coming back to my mind after a certain amount of days of the baby being born. So what if that baby have health problems? So that's why I would go that route for a young family that can't afford that much. Okay, and then later on, when the kids get older and they have to get off the policy, then we can convert their portion over to their own policy, whether it's permanent.
Okay, I understand.
The whole life policy. When I say permanent, I'm usually talking about whole life too.
So let's say that you're 50 years old, 45, you're in your 40s, you maturing decently, you're a grandfather yourself, and you notice, you go to talking to mom and dad, and you realize, Mom, Dad, you don't have insurance?
That used to happen all the time.
How could you?
Or they let it lapse.
Right, or you just perceive or thought that, everything was okay. And what has to happen? What's the steps? Do mom and dad have to, can a child put insurance on their parents? I mean, do the parents have to sign off, or how does that work?
Yeah, parents have to sign off. It would be wise if you have, and it all depends on the different insurance companies, but that part, the parents have to sign off. Okay. They have to be insurable. Again, there are some exceptions to the rules. They got some policies out there for people with some serious health issues where they got a waiting period out there. But there are many different options out there for seniors.
Okay. And that's some very resourceful information. You said something earlier about disability, like insurance. What do you mean by that, as far as insurance wise?
Well, if you become disabled, okay, it harms your ability to work, right? Mm-hmm. And so with disability insurance, it may not cover 100% of your income, but can you get it where it can cover a good portion of it? Can it cover 75% of your income, right? And so one of the things I would do, oh, it's better to have something than nothing. That's another thing too, as well. Where you can have some kind of income, and some of the things that could occur could be some people could have injuries, back injuries, some other type illnesses where it's just hard for them to work. Okay. You can get it on your job, or you can get a separate policy that stays with you.
So basically, your disability insurance is separate from the life insurance and so forth. So you
Yes.
can basically call a company and say, "Hey, I want to purchase some disability insurance. Therefore, if I do hurt my back on the job, if I get in an accident and I can't go to work for 6 months, I mean, that's what that's for. So it will cover your expenses."
Right. Right.
Okay.
Helps bring some income. And listen, I would argue even with life insurance, a lot of times people make a mistake with life insurance, just think of just death benefit. But if something happens to me, because of my income, that will put my wife in a tough situation. So I believe both policies can help out in that situation when it comes to loss of income. But of course, disability is while you're still living, of course. But life insurance could be, while your children and your spouse is still living, they still need some income coming in. They need time to recover. So both policies, I believe, are extremely important.
Describe family in one word.
Love.
And with that being said, you are a junior.
I am a
Floyd
junior.
Magwood Jr.
Yeah.
And what does that name mean to you? It's power in the name.
Yes, it is. It's funny. When I told you earlier, I made a comment on one of your shows, and one of your friends of yours said, "Is this Floyd Magwood?" Or I think he might have said Pastor Floyd Magwood, and it's like that's my father. Although I'm an elder, but that's my father. I know exactly who he was talking about. That name means something, and I'm proud to carry my father's name. Growing up, I thought I had extremely country name because my father originally from Elba, Alabama. But as I got older and grew up in the home that I grew up in, I had privileges. People talk about privileges. I had privileges of having a great mom and dad. And my father was he's passed away some years now, but he was tough on me. I was the oldest, but I learned so much from him. I learned how to work hard. I learned about God. I mean, he happened to be a pastor too. So even doing my discipline, or if I got a spanking, he preached to me in between the spanking. But but I learned so much from my father and my mom, and learned so much about God. I learned so much about love. I learned so much of hard work, and my dad was very important into the community. Many pastors knew him. Many people, even when he worked at as a sergeant in a correction facility in Lowell, people still come to me now like, "Was that your dad?" It just means so much. I had a father like that, and I can get rid of since he's passed away. Somebody said, "You can get rid of Junior." I'm like, I don't want to get rid of Junior. I don't want to get rid of Junior. I want to keep that. I'm nothing like. I shouldn't say I'm nothing like my father. I'm just. To me, he was much bigger than me on that. So I can go on and on talking about my dad, but I'm proud to carry his name.
What's the greatest misconception about the PK, the preacher's kid?
I wouldn't say it's necessary. Well, I was gonna say they say all preacher kids, or they even throw deacon kids in there is bad. I wouldn't say that that's necessary a misconception. I think the way we look at sin, that part is a misconception. We start putting different values and things on sin. all of us fell short, whether you just a regular member kid or a deacon kid or a preacher kid. We were just regular kids. The only difference with us was that we had more eyes on us. Even if it was somebody, a pastor or somebody that went to another church that knew my dad. Hey, I know your son was at this party, or was that we just had more eyes on us. We were just like any other kid. And sin is sin. We make mistakes, and it's a journey that our parents had to go through, I had to go through, and that my kids go through.
What's your go-to scripture? I mean, when times get hard, when they get rough, man, what's your go-to scripture?
Oh my goodness. Something that my mom used to quote to me all the time. I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. That's something that stuck with me, my mom, because she would be another one that would quote scriptures at me all the time. And, sometimes that can be a misconception how people view that scripture too. But that still stuck out to me, that knowing that I myself may be weak. I may not be the smartest person around. But I know I can, if it's okay for me to say, I don't know it's okay for me to say this. I know I can lean and depend on Jesus, who is my strength and who can help me, who can guide me.
And and that's a powerful scripture. That's a common scripture.
Yeah.
But once you understand that, like you say, understanding that I may not be able to do it.
Yep.
But through him, I can do all things.
Yep. Yep.
Who strengthens me.
Yep.
And that goes back to faith without works is dead. So you still got to do it, but he just going to strengthen you to do it. You may not have the strength to do it.
Yep.
But through him, when I look to him,
yep,
I can gather the strength.
In Christ Jesus. Yep. Yep.
That's right. Who eat first? The wife or the kids? And why?
Who eats first? That is a tricky question. I never thought about it before, but typically in my house, I would say, it's a mixture, but I would say it depends on who's cooking. So, so back in the day when my wife used to stay at home with the kids, now she's a school teacher, but back in the day she stayed home with the kids. I would say almost all the time it was she would fix our plate and different things, or I fix my plate, but she still was looking out for the rest of us. That's just what kind of woman she is. That's what she would do. So even if I fix my own plate, she still will look out for us, and then she's still up doing stuff. And I'm like, sit down and eat so we can say the grace, and let's, I'm getting hungry. Let's do some stuff. That's just what she is. Lately, I've been starting to do, since my office, and I don't travel on the road as much as I used to. I'm starting to help out and starting to do more cooking at the house. And I'm starting to get good at it, but I've always been good at grilling, but I'm starting to get kind of good at it. And so I'm fixing her plate now. And then I got one kid left in the house now, my youngest son, because my other son is off at UF. So I only see him mainly during the weekends or the summer. And then I make sure my son, he comes on and fix his own plate, or if I want to be nice, I fix it. But most times he fixes his own. I don't want to spoil him too much,
That's one of the things that when I came home from prison, my son would he would come, be like, Daddy, I feel like eating this. You'll cook me something, and and I took culinary, so I understand hospitality. You know what I mean? So he would sit down and I fix his plate. I do the whole thing, just like he at a restaurant. Fix his plate, fork, spoon, napkin, his drink. And one time he had someone with him. And so afterwards I asked the young lady, you want something, ma'am? Whatever, and I fixed her plate and everything. And you could hear him kind of whistle. I had kind of walked off or whatever. He's like, your dad always fix your your dad always do you like this, you know. I mean, I guess it's uncommon, you know what I'm saying? It's not normal, but you know, having the heart to serve.
I think that's
know,
important. Yeah.
You know, that's very important, you know, and you can become a wealthy man by being willing to serve.
Yeah.
If you want to be rich, serve somebody.
Yeah.
You know, because even the people that's poor are paid for service.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So you tell me some of the key ingredients to be a successful business owner.
Oh, wow. So part of my job is not only do I help develop the insurance agency business owners, and some of them buy like really, really big agencies, some of them start from scratch. I look for a certain type of candidate. Yeah, it's good. Do they have the ability to get the funding and to do things the right way? Yeah, that's important. Okay. Character, you know, is important. Are they honest? You know, can I trust them? Because they're going to be having access to a lot of personal information from customers. So you have to do all that stuff. Can you trust them? So all that stuff is a given, right? But another thing that typically stands out with me, and by the way, I got some of the best new agents in the nation. Okay, I mean they're top notch. Okay, what I look at is, are they aggressive? Do they take calculated risk, or are they one of those typical 9-to-5 job folks? I don't want 9-to-5 job folks. I don't want people that are scared to take risks, calculated risk. Okay, and are they teachable? Okay, so those are the main things I look at. Now, by them being teachable, one thing we do, when we get them in there, we teach them how to set up solid processes and systems, right? For example, and that could be any business, but let's say for sales, okay? Is there a script? Now, they may not use it word for word when they're talking to customers, sales or service, but they have bullet points that everybody in the office need to be on one page, one accord, right? So is it written down, right? How many times do you want them to contact, a prospect, right? What is the process? So it needs to be written down processes that they need to do. Okay. Do they have a aggressive business plan and goals? If they don't, if they're real safe, that's a good sign that they're gonna allow fear to stop them from growing. So, but if I see a stretch goal where they're aggressive, where they see, for example, if they see, here's what I need to get to make this amount of money, right? But they won't stop here. They want to go here. They want to go much higher. Those agents are typically your most successful agents.
Risk takers.
They're risk takers. They'll spend more money on staffing instead of hiring one or two people that can barely keep up, that can't do sales and service. They hire more people. They'll spend more money on marketing. But they know they got the processes in place that allow them to do those things.
Right, correct. You know, people that's willing to take chances, people, visionaries, people that can see something that's not there yet. I have an idea and I think it's wonderful. And you don't have to believe in it. I believe in it. And that's something that, that's one thing about me that always stood out. I don't care if nobody in the room agree with it. Yeah. I think the blue car look good. So who cares if you like
who cares? Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I've never worn a pair of Jordans. Growing up, my era, Jordan was Jordan. Right. And we all know them shoes was ugly, man. Come on. But we wanted them because
I never got into them, but it was because they were Jordans.
And it was ugly. And I didn't like high top. I don't like high top shoes to this day. Yeah. So they ugly. So I don't care how much they cost. You know what I mean?
You might have somebody get mad at you saying that now. Yeah, that's
exactly. But hey, that's to each his own. I'd rather spend that money on marketing. I'd rather spend that money on advanced. You understand what I'm saying?
That's the key.
It's okay to have toys, but I'm not going to overdo it because it's a toy.
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying?
Can I add something to that? I know you got to. It's okay. Successful people, because I work around so many of them, and I developed many of them over the years. That's still some of the top best in the company. Okay, and they're different. Okay. I would like to put myself in that category, but these people even got me beat, I think. But they're different, and sometimes they may feel lonely in that situation because most people don't think like them, or if I and they just don't get it because they're stuck into here's what everybody else is doing. Elon Musk, he's different. You can criticize him all you want to, but you can't deny how successful he is.
You know, even I'm gonna mention a name here, and this name seems to get people. I mean, they either love him or they hate him.
Oh, I know who he goes.
But he's probably the most talked about man on the face of the earth, and that's Donald Trump.
I knew you were gonna say it.
And he's different.
He's different.
We haven't had a president like that, and different is not bad. Different is not wrong.
Thank you.
Different is different. Just because you don't understand it doesn't mean that it ain't true.
Yeah.
Of course, the man has been successful. So therefore, of course, a successful man, wealthy man all your life, you have a tendency to be a little spoiled. You get your way, you act bratty.
Yeah.
But to me, that's confidence also.
That is. Yeah.
I tell a man, I'm around here right now, I'm getting older, surgery, can't hardly walk, but I'd rather be me than you.
Exactly.
I still rather be William Robinson.
God made you a certain way.
Than Floyd Magwood.
That's right.
My vision on this podcast, I sit down, God give me visions over time, and I think, man, I'm gonna do this, man. I mean, some telling me to do that, and people, they listen. Some people believe, some people, yeah. But it's coming together, step by step. There's some things I talk to you about, the chess talk. I think that's gonna be, we're gonna get it there, the Jeopardy.
Yeah.
These are things I am going to do. I'm gonna do it,
Yep.
And the Bible talks about casting your pearls among swines.
Mm-hmm.
Breaking that down is you got some pearls, you got some flashy jewelry, you gonna go in there and throw it in there with the hogs. They're just gonna run it around in the slop and get it all muddy and dirty. They're not gonna value those pearls.
No.
And sometimes it's good not to share. You share with the wrong type of people, they just as well, just like you praying for it, they'll pray against it.
They'll talk you out of it.
Yeah.
No, you can't do it because they only see things one way. And so I encourage people if they want to be successful, take risks. I mean, do your research. Like what you're doing, I got so much respect for you. And I know this is going to continue to take off. And I know it's growing now. And, much respect for you for doing that. And then other things that we have to look at, too, is not only you got your business plan, and it's not a plan unless it's written down. Okay. And if you make adjustments, go to your business plan, make adjustments, because it's not a plan unless it's written down, right? And another thing you have to look at, you got your scoreboard. What activities, we call that a lead measurement versus a lag. What activities are you measuring every day, or your team is measuring every day? Okay. Steph Curry, how many shots is he making every day to get to where he's at now? He's probably the best shooter we've ever seen in NBA history. Okay. But how many shots is he taking, right?
How many shots he missed to get
how
to
many
where
he's missing to do that? So you have to have a certain type of lead measurement that produces your lag results. But it has to meet what I coach up a lot of the agents to do is to have that scoreboard up, so that way, just like you would a football game, that way you know if you're winning or losing.
And it's
every day.
It's so important. You said something, writing it down. See, we interpret things different when we read it.
Yes.
I can, your wife could call you, pour out her heart to you over the phone while you're driving. You're listening to it, but you're paying attention to the traffic.
Exactly.
You might be digging in your nose, picking in your ear, anything. But if she wrote those same words down, if you came home and she was gone and there was a note on the counter, when you read those words, it's gonna
More focus.
penetrate your conscience different.
Yes.
You're gonna perceive it different. You're just gonna interpret it different because you are reading it. You have to. In order to read something, you're comprehending it.
Right.
You're taking it in. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Sometimes she's talking, but we ain't hearing or listening.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm guilty of that.
writing it down is so important. It seems so minor, so simple. It's no different than going shopping and not writing that list down. Every time you go home, it's going to be something you forgot. It's something you forgot. So you must write it down. That's so important. That's something that successful people do. It's traits.
Do. Yes.
It's traits that you do. And you talk to multiple successful people and you will find that these people don't even know each other, but they have similar traits.
Yes.
And I'm big on when I have ideas.
Mm-hmm.
I got a notepad over there. When I first came home, I didn't know nothing about this stuff. I didn't know what a podcast was. I didn't even know what it looked like, no nothing. But
you're doing good now.
But
all these
still,
cameras.
yet I had visions, and like I say, God gave me this vision. I'm just being obedient. You know what I mean? So, Thursday night football game coming on after a while, I could have easily been there waiting. But see, obedience is better than sacrifice. And I would write down all these crazy ideas, images I had in my brain when I slept and didn't know what they meant.
Yep.
But when I go back now and look at that chicken scratch I was writing down, it makes sense. It was before me. That's just like no different than John in the book of Revelation.
Mm-hmm.
When he spoke of things, it was things to come.
Yep.
And I'm such a perfectionist. I want to do it right.
Right.
And especially when I got so much respect for the Lord until it's like, I'm doing this in the name of Jesus. I need to, it got to be right. And I wouldn't start because I wanted it to be right.
Right.
And one of my relatives said to me, he said, man, you ever thought what God showed you was the ending and not the beginning?
Mm.
And that just, no, I never thought of that. So basically just start, man.
Yeah.
What he showed you is where you're going to end up.
Exactly.
I'm trying to, I can't do it until I get there off the top. I mean, I'm thinking, the devil, yeah, man, if it come out in this bad, man, people may not never give you another chance. You know what I mean? But I just, no, you just fight through that. And I think that, some people say, well, you kind of perfectionist, I ask them what's my pros and my cons, what you see.
Right.
Your cons, you kind of overdo it, you kind of perfect it, it's already perfect, But
right.
Me, in this industry, I see what you don't see.
Right.
See, you could look at that and say, oh, man, that's great footage. But I could see something wrong because it's my perfection.
There you go.
So, therefore, I'm not the type of man to know that I could do better and don't do it. And with that being said, if I could make it better, I want to make it better.
Right.
Because it's in the end, it's my product. You know what I'm saying? It's me.
Right.
I'm a walking advertisement. You understand what I'm saying? And
you're not growing, you're dying.
That's
you
right.
You got to continue to grow, whatever field you're in.
That's right. And and I could sleep better when I accomplish something that day. As a man, it's hard to go to sleep knowing you ain't accomplished anything in life. And it was a time where I was young, man, and I had separated from my first wife, and I'm kind of in the streets. And to the public eye, I'm successful. I got a pocket full of money, several women, everything I've touched, I've been blessed pretty much my life. And it would appear that, man, I'm on top of the world. And I remember I used to go to my mom's house sometime to get away. And like my phone wouldn't work out there. It's in the country.
Not in the country, yeah.
So my phone wouldn't be doing all that ringing and I'm saving the world in my mind, And I remember waking up and I woke up and I just looked up at the ceiling and I'm laying there. And I said, man, what you living for? I understood that, man, you ain't accomplishing nothing. You just, you running around You ain't happy.
Just floating around.
You know, I got money, I got this, but this ain't bringing me happiness. First of all, I'm supposed to be home with my wife.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? That's number one. That was the first thing. That what the emptiness was. You know what I'm saying? That my family. You know what I'm saying? And you know you're wrong. When you do wrong, like you say, sin, when you know you're doing wrong, you know you're doing wrong. You know, and you get mad when people tell us that that's confirming what we know, and that's, you know,
Right.
who is you to tell me? You know what I mean? But if you love me, you're supposed to tell me. You know, what are some of the most important lessons you've learned in life?
That's another great question. Some of the lessons I've learned in life was basically kind of like what we discussed earlier, creating a scoreboard for yourself, right? You know, have your goals, measure it every day. That was a great lesson. One of the biggest lessons I learned is more so on the religious side, is that it's okay to say that I'm a sinner that falls short, that's saved by grace. It's okay to you know, and I still have to watch myself sometimes. It's okay to look at myself and say, Floyd, I got issues. Floyd, you got issues, and I need to come to God for help. You know, to help me with that. Maybe when my wife came to me and said, I didn't like your tone, the way you talked to me. I'm like, what tone? Deep inside, that was something that probably really did cause my tone not to be so good with my wife, right? So that's one of the things I've learned. And also, you know, parenting, realizing as my kids go through their journey that it is a journey that they're going through, and it's okay not to focus on just behavior, but focus on their relationship with God first.
Right.
That's the key. Then the behavior can go afterwards. Because if not, what makes what I believe any different than some of the other religions that are out there that's more so on just works instead of focusing on the heart. So those things I've learned and continue to learn with my life as well as how I deal with my family.
You know, when it's all said and done, how would Floyd Magwood Jr. like to be remembered?
I would like to be remembered, you know, as you know, someone that love people, that want to help. Although I don't do it perfectly, and sometimes I get too busy and not putting what most important like I should and all the time. But I want to be recognized as someone that love people and that's willing to help when I'm needed.
That's that's good. You know, it's always, you know, love. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody deserves love, and everybody wants to be loved.
Yeah.
You know, and love is a word that sometimes we toss around a little too often.
Or don't fully understand it, what it is.
Right. You know, and being a child of a pastor, you know, I'm quite sure you know, most of your life you've been up and around the Bible and things, so you understand the agape love that God has for us.
Unconditional.
And in today's world, it seems as though, you know, I love you as long as everything going my way. But I can quickly fall out of love with you due to circumstances and situations.
Right.
You know, and that shouldn't be. You know, we should be able to, when you love someone, that's me loving you, knowing that you're a liar.
Mm-hmm.
Me loving you, knowing you're the thief.
Yep.
Loving you, knowing you're a manipulator. You know, the closest thing, you know, is, you know, the Bible. The only thing, the relationship that Jesus referred to his relationship with the Father was the love that a husband and a wife have for one another.
Mm-hmm.
A marriage, the two shall become one.
Yep.
Flesh. And I never understood how, you know, until, you know, I went through it myself. How could a man get down on one knee? All the women he's ever met, he get down on one knee and say, boy, I want this one. And 5 years later, you can't even stand in the same room with her.
Yep.
you know, you got to ask yourself, what happened? You know, what happened? You know, and marriage is so special.
Yep.
I remember, you know, I met my first wife. We in high school sweethearts, and you know, she had a church family, and we went to different schools. You know, but I was me. So you know, I was a football jock, and you know, I'm at the different schools, so she can't see me. So you know, I did my 1-2. You know what I mean? And we got married shortly after high school. And you would think that, you know, as a young man, ain't nothing but a piece of paper, but it was different, man. You know, it was different. And I remember the first opportunity I had to cheat as a married man. I'm still a kid. You know, I got married at 19 years old. I'm a kid.
Yeah.
You know, I couldn't do it. Man, that woman took off all her clothes, man, and I'm talking big jump before we get there. Look here, I ain't got time to be playing. If you ain't about no business, don't come now. Straight up, I'm about business. You know, it's going down. I'm talking big. And it was an extra guy there. It was 2 guys, 3 guys, and two ladies. You know, me and him had a person, and the other guy didn't have nobody. So I took him home. And on the ride back, man, all I could think about was my wife, man, and my daughter. And when I got back to the apartment, my partner, he had a 1-bedroom apartment. He said, man, you know, he took his person in the room, and he was like, man, y'all got your cover, everything good. You know, we ain't coming out. You know what I'm saying? Y'all good till in the morning, man. You know what I'm saying? Man, that man went in that room and closed that door. Man, that woman stood up in front of me to her birthday suit, man. And to this day, she probably think I'm a homosexual, man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, man. I just held her. And cause I worked at night at the time. So I, you know, like I went to work, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And when I walked in my door, man, you know, it wasn't long. You know, my wife, you know, just and I said to myself, man, I ought to walk out this door and go back over there. But you know, I just couldn't do it, man. It's a difference, man. You know, it's the bond is different, and it took us years and years to divorce. You know, even though you know we never tampered. You know, once we separated, we stayed together long. You know, we were together for a couple years. But once we did separate, you know, I had to trick my mind because I love this woman. You know, and you have to tell yourself, you know, I'm a very strong-minded person. I'm one of those people. I'm one of those visionaries. Yeah. I'm one of those people that's not scared to take a risk. I'm one of those people that make it happen. And I had to tell myself, man, you don't want her. She ain't no good for you, man. You know what I'm saying? You know, da. Right. So I would fast talk her. What you want? How much? What time? How much you need? You know, but I had to do that because if I sit there and talk, I turn into mashed potatoes. I turn to cotton candy.
Was it her that wanted the divorce, or?
Well, at the time, we still kids. You know, so I think we separated at I'm like 26 or something like that.
Okay, yeah.
So we still young. You know, me, I wanted it because we had a daughter. You know what I'm saying? Me, I'm the child. You know, we so young. Mm-hmm. Looking back, you know, maybe she think the grass greener. You know, I was something else now. It ain't all on her now. You know, I was who I was. You know what I'm saying? So, and I ruined her. You know what I mean? She was pure innocent. Just like she say, everything I know, I'm jealous because you taught me to be jealous. You know what I mean? I cry easy because you made me cry. Okay. You know what I'm saying? You know, I caught you with that woman. That's why I'm hurt. You know what I mean? So I did a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? And I'm not, she was, right now to this day, you know, I love her as a person. Right. If she needed me right now today, man, I'd be there, man. No problem. No lust for my eyes for or nothing. She's like a family member. It's someone I always love and care for, you know. A lot of respect. I went to prison. You know what I'm saying? A woman had to raise my child, which I never thought would happen. You know what I mean? So I got a lot of respect for her. But lesson learned, you know what I mean? But we're
Yeah.
going to do now, we're going to play a game called Fill in the Blank.
Okay. Oh my goodness.
I'm going to ask you some random questions. You just first thing come to mind, quickly, precisely. Ain't no right or wrong answer. Just say it.
Oh, you never know what could come out my mouth. That's why I'm like, oh my goodness. Well, go ahead.
That's what we're looking for. I've always wanted to.
Go to Alaska.
I love when someone.
Oh, that's a good one. I love when, I really do love with someone. Let's go hang out, just watch a game.
If I had to do it all over again, I would.
I would start my career faster than what I did.
My favorite holiday is.
Christmas.
If I could have dinner with anyone in the world, it would be.
If I could have dinner with anyone in the world, it would be, oh my goodness, Michael Jordan.
It aggravates me when people.
It aggravates me when people look down on others and not see the potential that they may have.
The best quality someone could have is.
Get up and go.
If I was God, the first thing I would do is.
If I was God, the first thing I would do. Oh my goodness, that's a tricky one there. If I was God, the first thing I would do. Oh my gosh. I don't know. First thing I would do is. Ooh, well, you got me stumped on that.
My childhood crush was.
Childhood crush. Now, if my wife see this video, but she's probably gonna laugh anyways, because I don't know if I was quite a child during the time, but Holly Berry.
Boy, you got to get to her before I do, boy. Ooh, you better get to her before I get to her. Yes, sir. Halle Berry.
Growing up, that was something with Holly Berry, and so I joke with my wife. Well, we haven't joked about it in a while, but that was something we used to joke about. But yeah.
If I could travel anywhere in the world, it would be.
Anywhere in the world. Got a chance to go to Paris for the first time. That was fun. And Bruges. Bruges was awesome. But I would say anywhere in the world. I would say I would like to travel over to Italy and kind of go and see more things.
My favorite movie is.
Don't laugh at me when I say this, but Major Payne is a classic. I don't care what they say. Major Payne was a classic.
What you got in your pocket there? What do you say? What you got? What do you say? A frog, a rat? What do you say?
Oh my God, I'm trying to remember that part. Let me. Are you in pain? Let me get that finger. That's
If you can go back to any age, it would be.
I would say 19.
Jesus is.
Jesus is love.
When I meet someone, the first thing I notice is.
Their smile.
My greatest strength.
My greatest strength is perseverance.
If I could ask God one question, it would be.
Why would he save somebody like me?
My greatest weakness is.
sometimes I'm so focused on accomplishing things that I don't take the time to just relax. Like regular work and stuff is like my relaxation, but I need to, continue to focus on just sit down and just play some more card games with my son, or just do something, something extra fun.
I draw a line in the sand if you.
Draw a line in the sand. If you if you say don't believe in God anymore, just it won't happen.
The biggest misconception about me is.
Oh, that's a good one. Biggest misconception, I would say, if people don't know me, they they may not necessarily know that I'm actually, pretty fun and down to earth. But once they talk to me, they know, I don't look at my first look on my face when you first meet me. I actually like to laugh and have fun. Don't judge me by if I don't know you. We may get off to a little bit slow start, but I actually like to have fun and kid around.
If I had to star in a movie, I think I know the answer to this one. If I had to star in a movie with any actress, it would be.
If I had to go into,
If you had to star in a movie with any actor or actress, it would be.
well, I cannot say it'd be Holly Berry, but they'd be in trouble. But as of right now, because I'm happily married. But as of right now, I would say to play alongside of Denzel Washington, who is the GOAT.
Well, you sure make a lot of money. I tell you that.
I would
much.
make a lot of money. That's another reason, because he gonna bring it.
Tim Tebow or Danny Wolfer?
Oh, I like both quarterbacks. I'm a big Gator fan, although I'm a little slightly depressed right now. But I would say complete package. I would say Tim Tebow. Complete package.
You honestly sit here and say Tim Tebow is a better quarterback than Danny Wolfer.
Now if we're talking about natural throwing ability, just natural throwing the ball, that type of traditional quarterback, then I would say Danny Wolfer, right? There's no question. He has such a nice touch, But as far as if I had to pick someone and I'm trying to win a bunch of championships and games in college, it's gonna be Tim Tebow.
Steve Spurrier or Urban Meyer?
Ooh. I would say Steve Spurrier.
Emmitt Smith or Barry Sanders?
Emmitt Smith. Complete back.
Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson?
Muhammad Ali.
Terrell Owens or Randy Moss?
Ooh. Randy Moss. I gotta go with Randy. Terrell was good though.
He-Man or Thundercats?
But I'll put Jerry Rice over all of them. But now you're going back in my days now, talking about bringing up some He-Man. He-Man, of course. He-Man. Y'all got to go with Thundercats came a little bit later. He-Man was the best. Yeah. I don't care what they say.
Okay. I feel you on that. Mary or Ginger Ann? Mary or Ginger Ann off of Gilligan's Island?
I remember watching Gilligan's Island, and I can't remember the names that go with it. It's been a while since I've seen it. It's been a little while, but I do remember watching it.
Pink Panther or Bugs Bunny?
Bugs Bunny.
Daffy Duck or Wile E. Coyote?
Daffy Duck.
Whitney Houston or Mariah Carey?
Ooh, Whitney Houston.
Prince or Michael Jackson?
Ooh. That's closer than you think. But I have to go with Michael Jackson.
Smart man.
I had to go with Michael Jackson. Prince is very talented. He kind of underrated a little bit, I think. But I got to go with Michael Jackson. He's the GOAT.
Lil Wayne or Jay-Z?
Ooh. back in the days, I would have to say Lil Wayne,
Ice Cube or Scarface?
Ice Cube.
Yeah, I'm a
Don't
Cube
don't
man.
judge, don't
boy.
judge, don't judge me. Okay, you good?
Hey,
You a Cube guy?
I'm a Cube man. I'm a Cube man too, but boy, I'd be scared to line up hit for hit though, boy. 'Cause Face don't play, boy.
Yeah.
Boy, Face got some hits, boy. Lord have mercy. Big Daddy Kane or Eric B. and Rakim?
I would say Big Daddy Kane. That's because I just know more about him. Yeah.
So I tell you what, sir. This part of the episode is something called AMA, where you, Floyd Magwood, get to ask me, William Robinson, anything.
Oh my gosh. Gosh. All right. Who is your favorite basketball player?
Kobe Bryant.
Kobe Bryant. You chose over the real GOAT, Michael Jordan.
No, I think Kobe would have whooped Mike head
Oh,
up.
no. Oh my goodness.
Kobe was an inch taller. Kobe got a way better jump shot. And
But Michael Jordan had the highest vertical leap, but that's all right. NBA history.
he could have the highest vertical leap, but what that's going to do about
Kobe did
one-on-one?
learn. He did learn from MJ. He did learn from MJ, but
MJ just came first. That's it.
for the prime, I would choose MJ for prime. But anyways, this is your answer. I ain't mean take over.
right.
But all right.
You all right?
All right. All right. As far as what is your favorite style of music? You can have two.
I really don't, believe it or not, I really don't even listen to music no more, really.
Okay.
My life is podcasting, but I used to do music. I actually had 2 albums.
Oh, okay.
So I used to be a rapper myself. And I learned to appreciate music being in that industry.
Right,
You know what I
okay.
mean? I can listen to a country song and say, I could see why that's a popular
That's a
country
popular song. Yeah.
You know, I'm not going to go buy it. I'm not going to just
Right.
Google it and go listen to it, but I can see why they like that song, that rock song. Now
Right.
that's a rock song.
Oh yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so but you know, I'm a spiritual man now. You know what I'm saying? So spiritual, I don't really listen to, you know, all the cussing and the fussing and things like that.
Right.
But
You got different styles even in the Christian music now, because
Yeah.
I got stuff, rap. You got Lecrae. You got some of the other ones that are out there.
I never when it comes to the Christian rap, some of them I don't heard a few dudes like on YouTube, you know, little Facebook
Yeah.
stuff that come down through there, but some of that stuff they might well be talking other stuff. They don't mention Jesus now.
Oh,
now.
yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they be in there talking about being on the corner and selling dope, and then they may say, "Yeah, but my Lord" or something at the end or something. So
Yeah,
I mean, so I
Yeah,
think
you can't consider that Christian rap. I guess
Yeah.
they call it that.
Yeah, I'm more kind of conservative.
Yeah. But as far as since we're talking about Christian music, who is your favorite? that you-
Shirley, I'm old school.
It's funny. She was in my. Her name popped up in my mind for some reason. Shirley Caesar.
Shirley, man. Shirley,
Yeah.
boy, Shirley did.
You know she performed in Ocala one time in the Silver Springs. You remember that?
No.
Yeah. The Silver Springs
I don't
concert. I'm trying to
remember
think how many years ago that was.
Man, that song, I remember Mama,
Mama.
and all that, man. I think put chills in you, man.
Now when you listen to her style of music back in the day, don't some of it kind of remind she had mixed a little bit of country music up in there? Go back and listen to some
music,
of that.
the instruments.
The instruments.
that
The
she would
instruments.
use, yeah, the instruments.
The instruments in that.
But it's so soulful, man. You could tell.
I mean, it
like,
had more soul to it, of course, but yeah.
The anointing like on it, man. Is
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Music is music. I can appreciate all forms of music. You know, I may listen to like some of this new stuff. Like the little baby dude, all right. You know what I'm saying? Some of it you can see what, hey, dude got a little,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I can listen to any of it and understand, and I can go there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I don't really listen to music, man. My life is this
It's
podcast.
podcasting. Yeah. That's good. Well, I can ask you one more question since we're talking about podcasts. Who is your favorite podcaster?
Hey, you know what? William Robinson.
Okay.
You know who that is, don't you?
You claim yourself?
That's my favorite. You know what I'm saying? You know, I'm the type of person. I'm like the agent that you're looking for.
Okay.
You know, you ever seen Biker Boy?
Michael.
Biker Boy.
Biker. I don't know.
Lawrence Fishburne with the motorcycle. He was racing, and when he get to the finish line, everything closed in. It's like a tunnel vision.
Oh yeah.
You know, that's how I am. I'm a very, very super focused person.
Yeah.
And I be in my own world. It's like even when I did music, I didn't listen to a lot of other people because I'm so much working on my craft.
You don't
trying
have
to
time
perfect
to.
what I'm doing.
Yeah.
You know, and when I turn on, if I'm not editing, I'm sitting down with a man like yourself. Now, when you lead, this is I have done 5-6 interviews this week.
Wow.
I have to go and edit upload, edit.
Wow.
Make reels, make shorts. So
Yeah.
it's like myself. Now I made
Can you take away my ugliness that's on camera and everything? You know, fix me up a little bit.
Hey, you is what you is, man.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? you proud of Floyd Magwood Jr., man. You know what I mean? Hey, dad, mom and dad gave it to you. That's what
There
it
we
is.
go. There we go.
Love yourself.
I'll take it. There we go.
You know what I mean? But you know, I do. I look at like, you know, Shannon Sharp and Cam and all them.
Okay.
And I do look for ideas. You know, not so much ideas when I was trying to figure out what my set was gonna look like.
Yeah.
You know, my format. You know, you study a little bit to look and you see, but I kind of go what God showed me. You know what I mean? I'm not a follower. I like the green car.
Right.
I don't care if everyone like the blue car. I like the green car.
Right.
I have never owned a pair of Jordans. You understand what I'm saying? I think Mike Tyson would have knocked Muhammad Ali out. I don't care what other people could do.
Yeah.
You ain't standing against no rope. The rope of dope ain't working with Mike
I wouldn't
Tyson.
put money on it. I'll tell you that.
In their prime, Mike Tyson knock him out.
I can see that happening in the prime.
And
I can see it happening.
And like you say, I'm the one gonna take the chance because I'm gonna take it all out my pocket and put it on Tyson. Because I believe what I believe. I think Kobe will be. See, we as a people, especially us as black people, we have a tendency to say what we supposed to say.
What black folks supposed to say.
Yeah, we say what's passed down. You go take a 20-year-old kid right now, ask him who the best basketball player. Michael Jordan. You ain't never seen Michael Jordan
seen him play. Yep.
You understand what I'm saying? The best player you ever seen with your eyes, 30-year-old man, is Kobe Bean Bryant.
I would say Steph Curry, but yeah, he's
Absolutely
good.
not. Now, Steph. Now, if you're picking a team from scratch,
It would be LeBron.
not for me. See, that's another thing. I'm a Laker fan. I don't think LeBron. I think LeBron is one of the best athletes to ever play.
Yes.
But I do not
Size,
think
speed.
he is the best basketball player because they talk trash about Carmelo Anthony,
Oh, he was good.
Kobe.
Yeah.
Oh, they ball. Nobody stops the ball more than LeBron.
Yes.
The ball stops. LeBron get the ball. He sit there, dribble, do this old dumb junk, and with 3 seconds left, he drive. If they catch him in the air, he gonna kick it to you, and you supposed to make the shot, and it's your 3rd shot all game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with that. Now,
Yeah.
is he physically gifted?
Yeah, he is.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
But it'd be hard not when you understand basketball. I used to do a little coaching in basketball. My 1-2 you got to pick first
Okay.
is Shaq and Steph. Because Shaq the most dominant force to ever step on a court. And,
Yes, he is.
And what Steph does is create spacing. He tears
He
your
does.
defense down because you have to pick him up at half court. That means that it's a hole. I mean,
And he'll drive past you too.
he'll drive past you.
Great dribbling skills.
Now he shows something in the. See, I'm the type of person where I process information very fast through my perception, anyway, the way I see things, and what he did in the Olympics.
Oh my goodness.
That's something that he didn't do in neither one of his championships, because each one of them, even the ones they lost and the ones they won, he would miss those shots
Yeah.
because he wasn't a finisher. See, that's what I love about Kobe.
Kobe was the finisher.
Kobe gonna kill you. I hate to say it, but
He was the closest to MJ.
if we run off in that house and my mask come off and them people see my face, everybody got to go. See, LeBron is, it's a grandmother, it's a kid, it's the women and children, but you gonna wind up in prison the rest of your life. Kobe, Jordan,
Yeah.
Allen Iverson. I used to like Wade
Killer
too.
Instinct.
I like Wade too. Wade the kid.
Oh, Wade, yeah. Wade
the
was
kid.
good. Wade was good.
I like people with that type
Yeah.
A personality. You know what I'm saying? That likewise, like myself, I've always been a very aggressive person. My thought pattern, my everything,
Right.
And I like those type people. I'm not losing too many things one-on-one.
Yeah.
As I get older, with my surgery, I'm not physically able to do things, but my mind, the things that I can do, I can do.
Right.
I don't have pride. If I can't do it, I say I can't do it.
You can't do it.
And it don't matter. Like, let's say you say, well, hey, I could.
Here's the next option. Yeah.
I can shoot more free throws than you. I bet you can't beat me shoot. Yeah, you probably can. I mean, I have no problem with that.
Right.
But what you won't do is sit down and beat me in chess. I tell people like this. I always say over the years, it ain't many things what I can do, but what I can do, I can do.
You good at it.
I say I don't know many things, but I know Jesus Christ. I know chess, dominoes, and football.
Oh man.
Now, outside of them four things, you might be able to pick up some wins. You know what I'm saying? But them four things, I know.
Yeah.
I know that I know. And with that being said, sir, you got any more AMA? Ask me anything?
No, that's pretty much all I have.
Okay, what you're going to do here is look over my shoulder directly into this camera here, and you're going to give any last words you have to my audience or anything that you want the world to know.
Well, the words I have is it's important to love each other. It's important to, first love God, number one, because you won't have the power, the ability to love others, because people are just gonna do you wrong. You're gonna do yourself wrong. You're gonna do some other people wrong. But it's important to love God, number one. Number two, ask God gives you strength to love others. And number three, I would say always, when we run across certain conflicts or certain situations, instead of pointing fingers at the other individual, first ask ourselves a question: what could I have done differently?
That's right. So we want to thank Mr. Floyd Magwood very, very much, ladies and gentlemen. And with that being said, once again, I am William Robinson, your host of My Story here at TLC Studios, ladies and gentlemen. We want to thank this young man for joining us, man. I want y'all to reach out to him. He want to give that insurance coming out, but y'all look him up, man, and hit him up, y'all. He gave us some great information to study, the input in our community. Let your loved ones know, man. Go and play this over and over and over again until you get a clear understanding. Don't be afraid to ask. Open your mouth. A closed mouth do not get fed. And like I say, we only got one life to live, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a whole lot easier with love and communication. You can donate to this platform with Cash App. Anybody love you with a U, PayPal, Robinson 74 Williams, Zelle 352-209-3306. And remember, if no one told you they love you today, William Robinson loves you.